For USCFootball.com, I'm Keely Eure here with Dan Weber. Instant analysis of USC's 8th practice of spring. We're now more than halfway through spring, and today was a full padded practice. A nice day out, and it was a nice practice as well.
Yeah, I mean, I thought they went fast. They went hard. We saw some, the defense makes life so difficult, for the offense that when they make plays, we saw some Josh Fallow. Is it? Fallow. I want to always call him Fatu. He made a couple of catches, but one deep one that was just off the arm of Holden Thomas, who's getting a lot of work as that third quarterback. And we saw Velus Jones catch in the back of the end zone from about 40 yards out. That I think Velus is showing up. But when the offense gets some good plays, they really have to earn them. They're not giving them to them. And today was kind of a run-heavy day. What we did see also, we haven't seen Malapai be able to run the ball yet, and I thought he looked like he hasn't missed a beat. He's ready to go, and that was encouraging, I think, today.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned that Velus catch. That was actually during 7-on-7 from Matt Fink. That ball was thrown. That was Matt. I think it was his best throw so far of camp. So he's starting to kind of emerge. We're seeing flashes from him, but I think the best throw of camp so far was that Holden Thomas rollout to Josh Fallow. But what does that say about the fact that Holden Thomas is getting a good amount of reps this spring?
Well, my theory is the more that it becomes like a three-way competition where they've elevated the number of reps for the third guy, probably says good things about the fourth guy who isn't here yet. Just a theory as to how that might go if you have a three-way competition in the spring, that may be opening it up a little bit for the number 4 guy.
Yeah. It was interesting, though. I talked to Marvell Tell today, and I asked him, what's it like reading Jack Sears and Matt Fink? And he laughed and he said, it's definitely not Sam Darnold, reading Sam Darnold. But he said Jack Sears is a little bit quicker to take off than Matt Fink, but there's definite differences between the two.
Yeah, I think Matt, he has the same capability of having that burst and that explosive. I think Matt is really trying to run the play that they call, and he really wants to show you he can make that play and make that throw, and there's a conscientiousness kind of about Matt, which Jack is just out there kind of playing. He's still, got a year behind, and Matt feels like, I think, that he needs to, show you that he can make the play. And he tends to not take off so much, and I think you're right with the thought that maybe adding that a little bit more and just being willing to just take off and go with it, because he does it so well. I mean, he's really athletic as heck, and right now we're only seeing Jack do that mostly.
Mm-hmm. It was a defensive day today, so we got to talk to the defensive players. I thought Porter Gustin had an interesting scrum today. He was asked a lot about the injuries he had during the 2017 season and if he had any hindsight bias about did he come back too early. He said at the time of the ASU game, doctors basically told him his toe wasn't going to be able to heal for about 2 months. So if he played on it then, if he played on it in 3 weeks, it would have been about the same. So he said he doesn't really regret in hindsight coming back when he did, because it was pretty much the same.
Yeah, I think the biggest second guess is the Texas game, because it wasn't going to be ready. I think we were sure it wasn't. But as he said, it kind of needed me for the Texas game. He had a great first half. Yeah. And I think he knew it was really painful by the end of the first half. But he said once they took the shoe off and took a look at the toe, they told him, you're not going back in. And he tried to beg him to get back in, because he was playing so well and making, big plays, and possibly prevented Texas from scoring at the end of the half, or, in a game that goes into overtime, that may be the game. So he may have won that game for him, but he looked at it and said, man, how, you're playing well and you're excited and all that, and then boom, you're gone. You're gone. He says right now he's in a far better place than he was last year. I mean, he's healthier, stronger, smarter, tougher, quicker, all those things. So it isn't a case of taking a step back. He's way past, he says, where he was last year. And, it was interesting. He's got 2 goals, win the national championship and earn a spot on the All-American walk. And he said, I can do it.
Mm-hmm. It was interesting. Helton made a point to emphasize Iman Marshall and how different his mental side is, his mentality. He said it's so different. He just comes up to practice and shut up and he works. And so I think it's really interesting to notice that change in Iman. I think we've seen it kind of on the field. You got to talk to Iman today. What did he have to say?
Well, I told him, I said, you're different. You're just not the same guy. I said, I used to always think Iman, physical. Now I'm looking at Iman and I'm seeing finesse. And he said, oh, I like the sound of that. I said, well, that's who you are. You're playing with finesse. I said, you have enough confidence now to not worry if that guy makes a cut and he's right maybe here, and you're going to stay with him. You're going to, run with him. You're going to make a play on the ball, and you don't have to grab him. And he said, well, here's the thing. Yeah, I'm approaching it from this standpoint, playing with my feet first, then my eyes, my eye discipline. He said, forget the hands part. That'll happen at the end of the play when you got a chance to play on the ball. But and he says, coaches coaching us, to not play with our hands. And but when you watch it, it's just so much more successful. And Coach Bradford raved about Iman's attitude, and Coach Helton did. And when you talk to him, he's a different kid. I mean, he's just all of a sudden. And I said, probably the big element that enters in there is he's so much more confident that guy, whichever cut he makes or however, he's not going to be able to beat me. And I'm going to be able to stay with him. I'm going to be able to make a play on the ball, and I don't worry. Whereas before, if a guy would make a cut past him, he feels like I got to grab him or I got to do. He said, I don't feel like I have to do that now. But he said he really did a lot of self-analysis and looked at him, broke it down, and said, this is what I need to do. And it's a delight talking to him now that he really feels like, said, I'm not there yet, but I think I've really figured it out. And that's what you really want to hear from a senior who's got the potential to be just so good. And he's looked like it so far this spring.
Mm-hmm. Jordan Iosefa got the day off today because he actually had a root canal, so they wanted to let his mouth heal a little bit. But it was an interesting development. Kana'i Mauga, he got first-team reps in place of Jordan Iosefa. So that freshman, he's been it's his 8th practice so far, and he's been making a splash.
Well, you could see it in the drills at the end of practice when they do the 10-yard grass drills and then sprints and explodes. He's so explosive. I mean, he's almost unblockable by some of the on the outside, rush. He's not a real big kid, but man, he is quick and solid and smart. And that's stuff you never know until you see the kid here. But at a position where they're going to get a lot of help when the recruiting class gets in here. But right now, maybe there aren't a lot of bodies, and he really an impressive kid. I think people had a sense that, there were people who said he is the best player in Hawaii, and that usually means something. You've seen some of those really good Hawaii players, Marcus Mariota, the quarterback at Alabama. So he is a really good player. I mean, I would guess he's probably better than all of us expected, and I don't know what USC would say, but he really he's a good player.
Yeah, he's been a good surprise so far for USC this spring. As I mentioned earlier, full pads today, full pads on Saturday. That'll also be overlapping with the coaching camp that is happening today and tomorrow and Saturday. But Helton definitely encourage all fans to come out, open to the public. Definitely will be more of a scrimmage emphasis. We haven't really seen full live tackling, and Helton kind of said Saturday we'll see that. So it'll be interesting to see on Saturday.
Yeah, I think the USC. I mean, you can come and sign up and pay at the door. And for USC fans that maybe don't get a chance to talk to, all the USC assistant coaches do their specialties, and you can talk to them afterwards and kind of get to know them. And I think the features speakers are Jeff Tedford, former Cal coach, now did a great job at Fresno State, was certainly a top Coach of the Year candidate last year, and David Shaw of Stanford. So I would recommend, if you've got the time and want to come down and kind of get a sense of what the program is about. It's very receptive to fans who come and just want to learn about USC football or just some of the general trends in college football. It's a fun day and a half if you want to come down tomorrow and Saturday morning and come over to the scrimmage.
Mm-hmm. Any final thoughts from practice today?
I think the good news is the defense makes the offense work so hard on every play because they're really too deep plus on defense, and they've got more guys that are really quick that they just keep filling them in. And it's not easy to be on the offense right now. But I thought they went to they were mimicking some of the heavy packages and the two-back sets and that they're going to see next year for the defense. But I thought it was good because you got a lot of blocking in there for the offensive line. Clay singled out a couple of guys we haven't necessarily heard that much about, and Jalen McKenzie and Elijah Vera-Tucker, and those are big-bodied, kids that you just want to see how they're developing. And Clay seemed like, real pleased with their development. And then he started going down the safeties, and he gets to 6 of them before you even think about stopping. So. As Ronnie Bradford said last year, they felt like they didn't have enough depth in the secondary. That lack of depth was their number one issue. And this year, and you got a couple of freshmen coming in who are really, really good, aren't here yet, and he got a lot of players right now. So he's not going to have a lack of depth this fall.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to play devil's advocate a little bit here. We've seen the defense look good, but as we've said before, the offense is young, inexperienced. Is there a chance that we could overestimate the defense based on who they're playing against right now?
See, I tend to not look at the results of the plays and all that. I tend to look at what position are the defensive guys putting themselves in? What angles are they getting? Where are they getting? What kind of penetration? What kind of standoff are they getting with the offensive? At the line of scrimmage and that kind of thing. You're more looking at body lean and control and getting off their stances and on all that kind of thing. Yeah, you don't want to be charting first downs or stuff like that. I mean, because I think they had gone, God, I don't know, what was it, 15 or 20 plays, and it went down to somebody because we were kind of blocked off a little bit in the media area from watching them at Bryant Kennedy Field. And I said, what's it look like, in the passing today? And everybody kind of agreed. Well, there was that one completion to, there were like 15 plays into 11 on 11, and they had one completion. And so I said that's probably not a good thing that we can all remember the one completion. Yeah. So that was a run-heavy day. So we'll give them that run-heavy day. But this is. But then we did get to see the two deep balls to Josh and Velus. Yep. So we haven't been seeing those as much, and both under coverage, a lot of coverage right there. So I just like that they're going after one another hard. You hear a lot of noise. They look like they've got athletes who can run to the football and hopefully run with the football. And I think the thing that's going to determine this team is, do they have a quarterback that can move the ball and get the ball to their talent at receivers, and can they block people on the offensive line? I think if they can do those two, and do they not turn it over or get penalties? If they can do that, they can be a pretty good team. We'll see. I mean, I think they know what the formula is. We'll see. Can they have the right pieces and the right schemes to get that formula to come to reality?
Mm-hmm. Yep, we'll see indeed. All right, that's going to wrap it up for Day 8 of USC Spring Camp. For Dan Weber, I'm Keely Eure. For more, check out uscfootball.com.